NFL, Barry Sanders shows why he is still the Lions king. We profile Denver's Terrell Davis and the incredible journey he took to become Super Bowl MVP. And we remember a running back's greatest day ever, Gale Sayers' 6-touchdown game.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's show. I'm Len Dawson, along with Nick Buonacani, Chris Collinsworth, and the lovable Jerry Glanville. Gentlemen, I want to know what the heck's going on in the National Football League and who's running these teams anyway, the coaches or the players. This past week, almost a players' revolt in St. Louis because the players felt that Coach Dick Vermeil's practices and meetings were much too long.
But I don't think the players are complaining about Wednesday and Thursday. That's your workload. That's the time when you're going to do all your hitting, get the hard work done. I think coaches have to cut back on Friday and Saturday, make it a mental practice, get off the field early, rest your legs.
You know, Dick Vermeil is not used to these modern players with free agency and the power that they have. They're used to having some input into the club. You look at the coaches now in the league and some of the new guys coming in, Pete Carroll, Steve Mariucci, Mike Shanahan. These are guys that are willing to put their arms around the players and say, what do you think, guys? How can we make a better football team?
I know what you're talking about. You're talking about they're more corporate type. They've been educated in sensitivity training.
That's what
there are three coaches who never took sensitivity training. Not bad either. Bill Parcells, Jimmy Johnson, and Dan Reeves. Pretty successful.
Nick, I don't mind them talking about the coaches, but when they get on the backs of the quarterbacks, now you got my attention. It happened 2 weeks in a row. Washington, Farrat. Well, the linebacker got over his case, ripped him. Then last week, Detroit's quarterback, Scott Mitchell, he was ripped as well.
Got him.
What do you think of that?
I think if I was an offensive lineman, I would have got up and I would have defended that quarterback. I would have punched that defensive guy if I had to, because you can't point fingers at each other.
You know, maybe they agreed with those defensive players.
You can agree, but you
never
can't talk about it. One thing we all know is this: winning takes care of all those little problems. There are still 11 undefeated teams in the NFL. One of the most surprising has to be Dan Reeves' Atlanta Falcons. Let's listen to Falcons safety Eugene Robinson to get the inside wrap on the team.
We're going to turn this mother out. We need the funk. Oh, we want the funk. Gotta have that funk. Oh, we need the funk. Hey, don't forget what we said, man. We got to bust a team in the mouth. And we got to get respect in the secondary. That's right. And it starts today, dog. It starts today in our own house, man. Let's go out there and let's bust them in the mouth. Take no prisoners. On 3, bust them in the mouth. 1, 2, 3, bust them in the mouth. Hard left, hard left.
Eugene Robinson was looking to lead the Falcons to their first 2-0 start since 1986. But missed tackles on the Eagles' first possession led to a 79-yard Philadelphia drive.
Dang it, my bad. Will!
Robinson took himself out, and the Eagles took advantage of Atlanta's soft middle to record the game's first score.
Man, I missed 2 tackles, dog. Had that sucker right there, too, man.
The curl flat guy. Once the other guy goes in, that tackle who's dropping going to be on him. And then he has to carry the guy to the corner.
Well, draw that up for me because it didn't look right on the field.
Down 9-0, the Falcons' defense held the Eagles to 76 second-half yards.
Yeah, he didn't get it. That was good, dog.
Hey, we get down. Can we raise the roof?
Let's raise it.
The offense raised the roof by raising their level of play. Shut out in the first half, Atlanta stormed back in the third quarter to take a 14-9 lead.
Chandler goes back, has time. He's going for the end zone. Made it look easy as he hits the tight end. Anderson. The give. Straight ahead. Is he in? Is he in? Yes. Touchdown, Falcons.
Good job, Bo. All right, baby. Let's go win a game now. Let's go win a game.
Late in the fourth quarter, Philadelphia drove downfield, and with under a minute left, the game came down to 1 fourth-down play.
Here we go. One last gasp again. Going back. He's looking. He is pulled out of the 35.
lead to 1-0. Let's take that and go.
With their explosive start this season, the Seahawks may be ready to finally end their long playoff drought. Last Sunday against the Cardinals, the NFL's leading passer, Warren Moon, threw for 2 touchdowns to light the fuse for another Seattle blowout.
Moon rolling to the right to throw, dumps it out to Galloway at the 5-yard line, breaks a tackle, touchdown Seattle.
It was the Seahawks defense, however, that truly ignited the win.
Goes up the far sideline, intercepted. Picked off by Willie Williams at the 25, to the 20, to the 10, touchdown Seattle!
Willie Williams diving over the end zone. What a play!
7 sacks and 3 interceptions helped the Seahawks roll to their first 2-0 start under Dennis Erickson.
Pounder, the ball's intercepted by Sean Springs, 45 to the 50. Down the sidelines to the 40, 1 man to beat, cuts it inside to the 20, 10, touchdown Seattle!
This week, Seattle's opportunistic defense takes on the struggling Redskins. Yes, there's trouble in the nation's capital, where the Redskins have misled fans with their inappropriate behavior on the field. Monday night, however, new starter Trent Green regained the public's trust on his opening drive.
Complete at the near side 5 to Shepard, dodges a man, dives, touchdown, Washington Redskins.
After taking an early 7-0 lead, the Redskins were turned completely upside down, while Steve Young had the 49ers pointed in the right direction with 3 touchdown strikes.
Play fake, Young wants to throw, goes to the left side, he's got an open receiver, it's a touchdown to Irv Smith.
The 49ers added more than 200 yards on the ground to hand the Redskins their worst home loss in 50 years. With their offense in mid-season form, it's hats off to Steve Young and the 49ers. While it may be impossible to steal San Francisco's NFC West crown, the AFC East title may be up in the air all season. Last Sunday in Miami, the Dolphins were looking to sink their teeth into sole possession of first place. But it was Bills quarterback Rob Johnson who took an early bite out of Miami's defense.
Back to throw, can't find anybody, running, now throws to the end zone, touchdown!
The rest of the day, however, Johnson and the Bills seemed caught off guard. After passing his team to an early 7-0 lead, Johnson ran for his life the rest of the day, as constant Miami pressure shut down the Bills' attack. The Dolphins sacked Johnson 8 times and limited the Bills to less than 200 total yards. And the Miami offense needed just 1 touchdown to help the Dolphins improve to 2-0.
Looking to throw, fires over the middle. It's complete to Lamar at the 10, to the 5. Touchdown Miami, Lamar.
While Miami fans are used to fast starts, Bears head coach Dave Wanstead is becoming all too familiar with bad endings. After losing a heartbreaker to Jacksonville in Week 1, Wanstead was hoping his team could hold on to an early lead last Sunday.
Kramer, lots of time, back to throw, wings it over the left side.
Bobby Ingram over the shoulder catch, high step through tackle, attempt at the 5, touchdown!
Yes! Great throw.
Trying to defend on the play was Dwayne Washington, but Kramer hit him beautifully. Washington tried to make the tackle. When Ingram slipped out of that tackle, he was gone.
Bobby Ingram's score gave the Bears an early 6-0 lead over the heavily favored Steelers, and Chicago spent the rest of the day trying to hang on for dear life. But like the week before, the Bears saw their lead disappear as Cordell Stewart's scoring pass helped give the Steelers a third-quarter lead.
Back as Cordell fires for the goal line. Caught on the second effort at the 3. Into the end zone for the touchdown is Andre Coleman.
Down by 5 in the final minute, the Bears still had a final shot.
Kramer back, throws it, intercepted. Steelers have it. Cordell Lowe coming forward to the 15, 20, 25, 30.
Pittsburgh's narrow victory sets up a battle of unbeatens between the Steelers and Dolphins this Sunday in Miami. Coming up on Inside the NFL, a poignant look at Denver's Terrell Davis. And on NFL Storybook, we remember a running back's greatest day ever.
Great new feature on the program this year called NFL Storybook. You're going to enjoy that one. Nick, tremendous football game in Miami as well. Pittsburgh travels down to take on the Miami Dolphins. Both those teams a little short on offense so
I think
far.
only short on offense in your mind. Jimmy Johnson is absolutely happy the way offense is going. Over 100 yards in the second half running the football. Jabbar over 4 yards to carry. Chris, he's thrilled.
Okay, he's thrilled, but that's against Buffalo and Indianapolis. If he doesn't start throwing the football down the field and having some success, not going to work.
Wait a minute, you know what Jimmy said? He said, wait a minute, look at the problem is not the receivers. Dan Marino just hasn't been hitting the open receivers. I didn't see that, though.
Well, they're having a few problems at Pittsburgh also with the quarterback. I think what they've done, they've taken all the strengths of Cordell Stewart. He could throw the deep pass. The deep pass opened up him to run and scramble. Now in this season, they want him to throw short possession pass. They thought he'd be more accurate. I think they've taken away all his skills.
He would throw it down the field if he had Yancey Thigpen or if his offensive line was settled, but neither one of those things are there.
Well, I still think they can run the bootleg and they can get him to the outside. They're not doing the things that his athletic ability allows them to do.
That's that stupid West Coast offense. It doesn't work for
everybody. Enough. Pick the game.
Well, because of the middle linebacker, Zach Thomas. He's 10 tackles last week. He's playing excellent against the run. I'm going with Miami.
I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Miami Dolphins have their starting strong safety, Sean Wooden, hurt for this game.
Oh, boy.
That means they're going to replace him with a cornerback, Calvin Jackson. He has to tackle Jerome Bettis. I don't think so.
That means Tim Bowles and Daryl Gardner, who played great against the run the first two games, aren't going to show up. Forget it. I like the Miami Dolphins.
Homer. All right, here we go. The Dolphins are trying to go 3-0, and don't think the Patriots in New England aren't taking notice.
In Foxborough, 99 or so balloons filled the night sky. With all that helium in the air, Peyton Manning couldn't help but feel a little lightheaded. In his first national television pro experience, Manning suffered a few pops and floaters, giving away 3 interceptions to the welcoming Patriots.
Back to throw Manning. Look, shoots it long and deep and intercepted. Picked off by the Patriots. Back comes Law to the 45, to the 50, to the 40, 35, 30, to the 25, 20, to the 15, to the 10, down the left sideline, cuts back inside, to the 5, and he's going to go down and in. Touchdown, spectacular return by Law, 60 yards.
Law's 2 interceptions gave the team a huge lift as the Patriots filled a 29-0 lead and coasted to their first win of the season. The second straight home opening victory for Pete Carroll's club. In New York, Bill and Ted shared some excellent adventures, including the tale of a young upstart named Jermaine Lewis.
Lewis at the 30-yard line, running left, doubles back to the right, across the 40, to the outside 50, inside the 40, down the sidelines 30, to the 20, 10, touchdown, Ravens. Jermaine Lewis once again burns the Jets.
Eric Zier replaced a banged-up Jim Harbaugh and immediately directed an 11-play, 99-yard drive, capped by a 20-yard touchdown pass to tight end Eric Green. With the game tied at 7, the Jets gambled on 4th and goal, but Ravens middle linebacker Ray Lewis, number 52, shot the gap and stopped Curtis Martin for no gain. The Jets' inability to run was overshadowed by their problems in the air.
Foley throws it on the run, and it's intercepted on the left corner by Rod Woodson.
Week 1 dynamo Glenn Foley was transformed into Raven fodder, suffering 3 costly interceptions.
Back to passes Foley, looking right, throwing, and intercepted. And this one is going to go for a touchdown to Rod Woodson, who will walk it in.
Rod Woodson's 60-yard return gave Parcells an early season headache and the undeniable pain of an 0-2 start. They spell pain a little differently in Jacksonville, but against the Chiefs, Relief was an 85-yard punt return away, and the Jaguars raced to a lightning-quick start.
Here's a high kick that fades a bit across the field. And Barlow gets underneath it at the 15 with room to run. He comes up to the 20. Has a seam 25-30. There's the 35-40. It's a foot race. Barlow at the 50, the 40, the 30. He's not going to get caught. Touchdown, Reggie Barlow, 85 yards, and the Jaguars take a 6-0 lead.
The Jaguars' offensive line held six-sack wonder Derek Thomas to one tackle, giving Mark Brunell time to find Jimmy Smith in the corner of the end zone. For Rich Gannon, time was elusive, and the Jaguars forced him into a game of hot potato. With Andre Rison nursing a hamstring injury, Gannon turned to the indestructible Tony Gonzalez. Gonzalez bounced back up, but the Chiefs' running game fell flat. Donnell Bennett, who had 115 yards against Oakland, was held to just 46 versus an improved Jaguars run defense. Meanwhile, James Stewart capped off his second consecutive 100-yard game with a touchdown dive.
Stewart leaps into the end zone. Touchdown, Jacksonville.
The Jaguars' victory over the Chiefs made for a happy 2-0 start, fueling early expectations of a championship season. For some Tennesseans, watching flowers grow is more exciting than watching pro football. But in Nashville, the Oilers sought to change that perception.
Programs, $3, 2%.
Fresh roasted peanuts here. Watch Steve McNair and Eddie George take care of the San Diego Chargers with a bag of fresh roasted peanuts.
Rookie Ryan Leaf's contract ain't peanuts, and that's why NFL defenders hope to snack on his inexperience.
Oh, yeah, baby. That's what it's all about. First rounder. Let's see what he's made of. Ryan Leaf.
Here we go, season opener in Nashville. Look out, we're about to hit
The combination of picture-perfect pass and paddle-handed receiver hurt San Diego, and the Oilers also proved to be error-prone. Eddie George was held to a paltry 15 yards rushing in the game, and Tennessee committed 9 penalties, including a holding infraction that would cost them dearly when it negated a Steve McNair to Yancey Thigpen touchdown. For head coach Jeff Fisher, elation was frequently eclipsed by frustration. The Oilers engineered an 80-yard scoring march that closed out the first half and sowed the seeds of excitement in the sons and daughters of the South. The drive remained alive when punter Craig Hentrick tossed a 13-yard pass to Jackie Harris. With 14 seconds left before intermission, Tennessee assumed a 7-6 lead on a McNair scoring strike to Frank Wycheck. But in the second half, Leaf deftly directed a ball control offense that eventually scored the decisive touchdown in surprising San Diego's second win of the season.
Oh, man, don't let him run like that. Come on, you got to pass it.
Ryan Leaf steps up. He's going to run the ball. 20, 15. He needs a block. He can go. He's at the 5. He's hit at the 1 and goes down at the 1 yard line. 1 yard line. 1 yard line. Long snap count. Natron trying to get outside. Bounced out. Went out. Hit at the goal line. Touchdown, Chargers.
All we work for. 2-0. 2-0. Next week, we'll have a good week. 2-0 now.
Worst team in the league. 2-0. The worst team in the league. We're terrible. We're terrible. The one thing I knew, the one thing I was sure of, if we could get it down to the end and make it a battle of heart, make it a test of your will, that would be our game. Great job. Congratulations. A great team win.
Chargers linebacker Junior Seau say, worst team in the league's now 2-0. Well, Junior joins us now on NFL Crosstalk. Junior, I don't care what any of these other guys around here say about you. I believe in this football team, but it sounds like you've got a little chip on your shoulder coming into this year.
Well, we definitely do. You know, obviously, whenever you're talked about in the sense of being the last or the worst team in the league, you know, you tend to take that personal. And sitting here at 2-0, you kind of look at it and say, listen, all right, we proved you wrong in the sense of 2 weeks, and hopefully we can outlast the whole year and show out to be, you know, a team that's going to be reckoned with in the playoffs.
You know, when people do talk about the Chargers, they're talking about Ryan Leaf and the offense. But the real story so far has been the improved play on the defensive side, which gave up the most points in the entire league last year. Why the improvement?
The improvement is that we're healthy, number one. And then, you know, we had new coaching staff come in last year, so the scheme was really new to all of us. So we have 1 year under our belts with the scheme, and now we have the healthy people in there performing like we do. It's not a surprise to us why we're performing the way we are.
Well, Junior, we've just gotten word that one of your guys isn't so healthy. Ryan Leaf apparently taking a few IVs. Is he okay, and is he going to play? Yeah, Ryan's going to be all right. Right now he's under the weather. He's feeling kind of down and out. But, you know, we have 3 days to feed him some IV, give him some rest, and hopefully he'll be ready to go Sunday. Well, a step up in class this week for the Chargers going to Kansas City. But if the Chargers are really going to compete for the playoffs, you have to go through Kansas City and Seattle and Denver. Do you think the Chargers are in that class yet? No, we're not in that class yet. Until we prove that we are, then we can sit here, or I can sit here and say, Chris, we are. But right now, we haven't been in the last 2 years. We haven't performed up to par the last 2 years. And until we prove that we can make it to the playoffs and be a consistent team, then we'll be a team to be reckoned with. But until then, we're not. All right, let's talk about your coach, Kevin Gilbride, for just a minute. A lot of criticism of him a year ago. How has he changed this year? Well, he's definitely relying on a lot of the players' input. He's obviously a second-year head coach now. He's learned a lot in the sense of the PR aspect of it. But other than that, you know, I think we're all more comfortable at being around him, and he's comfortable at being around us. Junior, as always, thanks for taking the time to be with us, and good luck this week. Chris, thanks for having me on. Lenny, Ryan Leaf isn't the first young quarterback ever got sick watching that Kansas City defense on film. We'll call it the Kansas City flu. I'll take the Chiefs. What do you think?
Well, I think he must have watched the tape of the Raider game when the quarterback was sacked 10 times. That would scare any quarterback. But, Nick, I'm interested to see how this young quarterback handles the noise at Arrowhead.
Forget the noise, Lenny. What he's going to be worried about are the blitz packages that the Chiefs are going to give him. With the speed of those linebackers, Thomas, Edwards, and Davis, it'll put anybody in a hospital ward.
Well, let's see. You're not getting much of a chance. Junior Seau, he said, we're not in their class either. But, Coach, tell me how they can win.
Well, the Chargers have a chance. Anytime you can stop the enemy's running game, you have a chance to win that thing. And you look at the middle linebacker for the Chargers, Kurt Cavea, he's playing excellent, coming off of last year's neck injury. I think they'll stuff Kansas City.
Kansas City can run with the ball. They ran against Jacksonville last week. Their problem was they coughed it up twice. The biggest problem for Kansas City is not offense. It is not defense. It is the play of their special teams. Last week gave up 247 yards, including an 85-yard punt return.
But that's always been a problem for those guys.
Last year they were one of the top 3 teams.
Well, another problem Kansas City's having is inside the red zone. They haven't been able to score. They get the ball down there. But Andre Rison, he was out last week with a sore hamstring. He's a different receiver inside that 20-yard line. He'll score some touchdowns. I'm taking Kansas City.
No, Ryan Leaf should have an Andre Rison to throw to. This year, they traded Tony Martin down to Atlanta. His receivers, they've dropped 10 passes in the last 2 ball games. I like Kansas City.
Plus, Kansas City's John Browning, defensive lineman, is coming back. That will help that already very tough Kansas City defense. I think I'll go with Kansas City.
You're taking Kansas City?
I'll take a chance.
Oh, that's news.
This is a big game in the AFC West, which is shaping up as the toughest division of all. Even the Raiders showed some life last Sunday.
The tradition-rich Raiders hold many things dear, but the top of their totem pole is reserved for the founder of the Raiderettes. Napoleon Kaufman deserves a place of honor for an 80-yard touchdown that was last Sunday's very first play from scrimmage.
Midfield, he may go. 40, 30, he's gone. 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown.
As a runner, Kaufman can really split, but as a blocker, he went splat, courtesy of Jesse Armstead. The Giants registered 5 sacks, and Danny Canal passed for 2 scores in a tight contest.
Canal, back of the pocket, pumps, throws over the middle, pass complete to the goal line. Hilliard, touchdown as he reaches in.
New York assumed a 14-10 third quarter advantage.
Canal pump and go, left corner looking for Callaway. Touchdown! Boy, he is graceful.
But after Oakland regained the lead with less than 2 minutes remaining, Canal was thwarted by Eric Turner, who earned a sack and a pick on consecutive plays.
Canal back. Looks, throws over the middle, intercepted by Turner in midfield. This will do it. To the far sideline, steps out of bounds.
Raider fans will again get to demonstrate their fabled pride and poise when the home team hosts the Broncos this week. In Denver, it didn't require a lick of horse sense to figure that the Cowboys' Troy Aikman and the Broncos' John Elway would engage in a passing duel.
Snap to Elway out of the gun. Not much pressure. Deep to the middle. Oh, Sharp's all alone. Caught it in stride at the 5 and in for the touchdown. Aikman straight drop. Good protection. Deep ball left. There's a man. Caught by Mills at the 5 and in for the Dallas touchdown.
While this aerial duel didn't have legs, Terrell Davis did.
Handoff Davis up the middle. Cut back left. And he's gone to the 50. And he's gone to the 40. And he's gone to the 20. And he's gone. Period. 63-yard touchdown, Terrell Davis.
TD went long distance on consecutive carries in the first half.
To the middle, breaks through to the 50. He's gone again. There's no one within 7 yards of him. Terrell Davis, on the first play from scrimmage, goes 59 yards for his second long touchdown run of the day.
But ball carrying proved to be a precarious proposition for Aikman. When the Dallas quarterback scrambled for a 6-yard gain midway through the second quarter, he was met by a gang of tacklers. The result was a broken clavicle that will keep him on the sidelines for 4 to 8 weeks. With the Cowboys' top gun slung in a holster, backup Jason Garrett will have to generate the firepower. On Sunday, Garrett performed capably, but he did feel the sting of the Denver defense. As for Elway, he threw for 2 scores and ran for another before injuring his hamstring in the fourth quarter.
Throw to the post, and Sharp will catch it like it was a stroll in the park in Midtown Denver for the Bronco touchdown.
The Broncos hope that Elway will be strolling rather than limping into Midtown Oakland this Sunday.
Defending a Super Bowl championship is tough, but not nearly as tough as Terrell Davis's horrific experiences growing up in San Diego. Brian Burwell has the story of Denver's Terrell Davis. It's a story you may not know.
Last season was a storybook year for Terrell Davis.
We may have never known about.
Joe Earl Davis was part of that adversity. A complex, troubled man, he lived with a confrontational style that landed him in jail 3 times for everything from grand theft to robbery, and left a great deal of the burden of raising their 6 sons on his wife, Catering.
You know, my father drank, and I recognize that when you do drink, you do things that you wouldn't ordinarily do. My father smoked pot around the house. He had guns.
When he was around their working-class San Diego neighborhood, the alcohol, guns, and Joe Earl's temper were often a volatile mix.
Then, one day he comes in, he's just a madman. He comes in the house, yelling at everybody.
He came down the hallway. We can hear him coming.
But I know he comes in, he talks for like 2-3 hours. You know, he wants to give you lectures about life and, you know, how he can take us out with 6 cents. So I guess a bullet costs 6 cents. And then all of a sudden, he just, you know, he pulled his little 38 revolver out.
4 shots went by us. You know, each one had a shot. Still, the bullet just zipped right by you.
Because no one ran, no one screamed, no one yelled, no one ducked under the bed. Just sat there, you know, and that had to be the most confusing moment of my life.
Pop's instability ignited lifelong conflicts for the Davis boys, who all straddled that fine line between the straight and narrow and Joe Earl's criminal past, including Terrell, who returned from college during his freshman year and with his buddies stole a set of expensive tire rims.
So we all 3 sat down planning to go get Terrell some wheels because he's the only one out of the 3 that didn't have any wheels.
But anyway, I got arrested for that, and I went to jail. Sitting there for 4 days felt like 4 weeks. You have a lot of time to reflect and think about what you've done. I definitely had to make a conscious decision that this was it. That, I mean, no matter what happens, I'm never coming back to a place like this.
Surely Joe Earl's negative influence was at least partially to blame for leading Terrell and his 2 other brothers to those jail cells. Yet, is it possible that when Joe Earl was cold sober, he was also a major reason why Terrell never swayed again?
Joe Davis was known with a lot of respect as a great disciplinarian. He had 6 boys that he had to raise with the help of his wife, Mrs. Davis.
You knew he loved you, and it was a tough love, but you knew that, you sensed it and you felt it every day that my father loved us.
After all his hard living, it wasn't the booze or violence that killed Joe Earl 11 years ago at age 41. He died quietly in a hospital of the disease lupus and never got to see his youngest son become the Super Bowl MVP, where he displayed an old-school toughness that would have made Joe Earl beam. During the game's most critical stages, momentarily blinded by a migraine attack, Terrell stayed in the game.
You don't worry about seeing on this place because we're going to fake it to you, the 15 lead.
Yeah, he'd have loved that. Right, and I know he was looking at me. I made him proud that moment.
That thin line between triumph and tragedy was a concept Joe Earl personally had his troubles with, but somehow, through his wife's loving touch complemented with his hard edge, Terrell became their successful legacy.
Football fans everywhere are happy that Terrell Davis made the sort of decisions that he made in his life. And Terrell made a few good decisions last week against the Cowboys as well, tearing up that defense. This week, Terrell and the Broncos travel to Oakland to take on the Raiders. Should be a good one.
But don't believe all this hype about the Denver Broncos, how good they are, best team since whatever. They have a weakness, and the weakness is their secondary. When a guy like Jason Garrett can come in and go 14 for 19, what do you think Jeff George is going to do against that?
Well, you know, the other thing, that if there is a team in the NFL that gives Terrell Davis some problems, it's the Oakland Raiders. He averages about 1.5 yards less per carry against the Raiders than he does against the rest of the league. Couple that with the fact that John Elway has that hamstring thing going on.
Don't worry about John Elway. Bubby Bristow will come in there. He'll play as good as Elway.
Now, who are you going to take in this game? You're saying that their secondary is weak, so that means you're taking the Raiders, right?
I'm going with Denver.
Me too. 2 cowards over here. We'll both take the Broncos.
Bubby Brister is as good as John Elway.
Yeah, that one slipped out.
That's news. That's news. Let's talk about the NFC East, where the Cowboys traveling to the Meadowlands, take on the Giants, and the Cowboys playing without Troy Aikman, who's out for a few weeks.
Yeah, however, but Danny Cannell, the quarterback for the Giants, he struggled last week too, Letty. But if the Giants are going to win this ball game, they're going to win it on defense. The defense has 13 sacks in the last 2 ball games. Michael Strahan having a tremendous season.
But they do not have what they call a running game with the Giants. I do think that the Cowboys do. This guy, Emmitt Smith, you remember Emmitt?
Him, sure.
Number 22 in your program, number 1 in your heart. Well, he's off to a good start. He's over 200 yards rushing so far this year.
Well, one thing about the Giants, you know they're going to put up an 8-man line. But what I remember last week when I thought the Dallas defense sort of was not there when Terrell Davis had those 2 50-yard runs. So I think the Giants win on defense. I like New York.
Wait a minute. Is Terrell going to move over to the Meadowlands this week and play for the Giants? I don't think so. Tiki Barker's going to run. I don't think Tiki is going to get up to 200 yards. I like the Dallas Cowboys. Now, it's interesting, though, that here it is. It used to be the toughest division in the NFC. But the balance of power is shifting in the NFC from the east to the west, where quietly Mike Ditka is finally giving the fans in New Orleans something to cheer about.
Who dat? Who's in the NFL, baby? Go Saints! Who dat?
Glimpse at the Superdome seemed as silly as Revlon's attempt to sell gray lipstick. But these Saints are suddenly sexy.
Kick ass up front, fellas. Kick ass on 3. Kick ass on 3. 1, 2, 3. Kick ass!
Very unattractive was a Panther blitz that Danny Werfel victimized with less than a minute play.
3-step drop. Werfel guns it downfield. Dawkins fakes the catch and he's free. He could go all the way. Touchdown Saints. 64 yards. And what a great start for Danny Werfel here today in the Superdome.
Dominate, KG. KG, dominate. Dominate. Yes. Where the dogs at, baby? The bees sting. I told you the bees was going to sting.
Thus inspired, number 91 Kevin Green sacked Werfel twice. The Panthers' 6 sacks included one by high-priced free agent Sean Gilbert. While the Panthers pranced and kicked up their heels, the Saints tried to keep their heads.
Do not retaliate against them. I don't want 15 yardage. Do not retaliate against them. Okay, I don't give a damn how much they push. Do not retaliate. We'll do it by hitting the hell out of them, knocking the out of them.
The Panthers' Muhsin Muhammad caught 9 passes for 192 yards and a touchdown.
The 5, dives in the end zone. Touchdown!
Way to go, Moose! Hey, Moose, way to go, baby! Hey, Moose, baby, way to go, man! Way to go! Hey, we better than them. We got too much time on this. We better than them. We better than them.
Settle down, hey. Settle down. Number 40 is being cheap. Settle down. Don't let him take you out of your game, all right? Hey, he ain't that good. Don't worry about him. Play your game and don't let him get you kicked out. You understand what I'm saying? All right, hit him every chance you get.
Come on.
But the Saints target number 40, William Floyd, was poised to deliver the game breaker.
Got him. Got him.
He can throw. He will. And it's intercepted. He threw it right to Coda in the end zone for the touchback. Oh, what a gift.
Now, I know you can't hear me, but you got to pre-think that. You got to pre-think, hell, I'm playing out here, I'm the open rush that is coming to me, what do I got? Right. You got to contain it. And if you don't do nothing, when that guy come at you, if you don't do nothing to step up the field, so what if they running inside? You know what you did? You contain the play.
Greg Lloyd's run strategy failed miserably. The Saints launched an 80-yard drive to victory, 73 yards of which came on the ground.
30 breaks the tackle. Midfield still fighting up to the 47-yard line. Pitch it back to Smith. Smith with a big hole. He's outside to the left, inside the 20, down to the 15-yard line.
Come on, baby. 9-man can. We're going to the promised land. Come on, baby.
Saints trailing by 1. Give it to the fullback, Sellers. He has a hole. Barreling over tacklers. He'll score. He just crushed Doug Evans and the Saints.
2 straight wins are very sexy indeed.
Good job, man. Right away to work. Big effort, Rick. Good job. Hey, fight. Hey, fight, baby. They're fighting hard. Come on, kid. Good job.
Fresh off their opening day demolition of the Buccaneers, the Vikings figured to have an even easier time against the struggling St. Louis Rams.
Handoff Smith wide open up the middle. 45, look out. This guy can run. World-class speed. He's going to go all the way. Robert Smith, 74 yards. And that takes the wind out of your sails in a hurry. Wow.
Smith exploded for 179 yards and 2 scores as the Vikes jumped to an early lead. But the stubborn Rams climbed back into contention on a pair of Greg Hill touchdowns and a long-distance play of their own.
Eddie Kennison drifting back. He's going to take it in at the 30, trying to come up straight up the field. 35-40, breaks the tackle, the 45, headed to the 50, to the 40, to the 30. Go. He could go. Touchdown, St. Louis. Eddie Kennison, 70 yards. Woo-hoo-hoo!
The St. Louis defense also influenced events by knocking Minnesota quarterback Brad Johnson out of the game. And by the 4th quarter, the Rams had stormed back to deadlock this shootout at 31 all.
Control is back. Going deep. The ball is up. Isaac Bruce is there. He's got it. At the 30, the 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, St. Louis. Yes. How about that? This is awesome. I love it. Way to go, Reverend Ike.
Viking reserve quarterback Randall Cunningham responded by hitting Chris Carter for the go-ahead touchdown with 2 minutes to play. But the Rams mounted one final scoring drive, setting the stage for a dramatic finish with only 6 ticks on the clock.
Here they come, final play of the game. Juggled by Banks, wants to throw it, now will run it. He's in the open, they dive for him, and short of the goal line, I think they've stopped him at the 1-yard line. Oh, man.
Minnesota will next face Detroit without the services of Johnson, who will be lost for at least a month with a fractured fibula. Last Sunday in Pontiac, Lions fans were hungry for both victory and a Barry Sanders breakout. In their opening day defeat, Detroit's marquee back was held to under 100 yards rushing and no touchdowns. But against Cincinnati, it was business as usual for Barry. Sanders blitzed the Bengals for 185 yards and 3 touchdowns, including one run that only Barry could have broken.
Mitchell, deep handoff to Barry, and he's not finding running room there. Goes up the middle, 40, 50, 40, Barry on his sprint, and they'll never catch him. Touchdown, Lions, Barry Sanders.
Don't know how many times you can say it, but Barry makes more out of nothing than any back in the history of the game.
But Cincy quarterback Neil O'Donnell made sure Sanders wouldn't hog all the headlines, firing 2 long touchdown passes to Darnay Scott en route to his first 300-yard passing performance in a Bengal uniform.
Play action, looking long to O'Donnell. Here's Darnay Scott. Touchdown, Cincinnati.
Beat Westbrook like a drum that time.
Meanwhile, the Bengals secondary played much tighter coverage. And for the second straight week, the Lions special teams gave up another damaging kick return.
Gibson then now steps forward and has some room for the 40. Go, run. Bounces off the pack, and here he goes to the left side. And he's got some guys down. Runs, he gets a block from Battaglia. That's the 50. 45, another great block from Barry Mack. Down the sideline he goes. David Gibson will go all the way and score for the Bengals.
Oh, there's the special teams play that they needed big time.
Tied at 28 in overtime, a promising Detroit drive suddenly went sour.
Keep your eye on Sanders, but Mitchell will throw. And to the left side. By Corey Sawyer at the 50. 45 down the sideline. Cuts back in at the 20. He's at the 15. The 10. The 5. The Bengals win the game. Corey Sawyer with an interception return. How do you do?
The Bengals win pushed the Lions 2 games back in the NFC Central, a division that has borne the brand of the Green Bay Packers for the past few seasons. The Buccaneers hope to make their mark last Sunday in this latest Battle of the Bay.
Jaguars Green runs to his right, got a little seam. Green to the 30, 25 to the 30, Green to the 30.
This was one of 5 touchdown punt returns last Sunday, a new league record.
All the way, touchdown Tampa Bay, Jaguars Green.
Tampa didn't score at all until the 4th quarter, due largely to a pass rush paced by Reggie White, who logged 3 quarterback sacks before halftime. Green Bay's secondary was nearly as effective, as the Packers won their 6th straight over the Bucs and their 29th consecutive game at Lambeau Field. But the Pack didn't escape this one without a few bumps and bruises.
Play action fake, rolls to the right, wants to throw on the run. Now Dobbs gets it. Oh, man, did he get level. He turned right back into the defender, Megan Upshaw, and he gets up clapping his hands and giving Upshaw a good pat on the back because he nailed Brent coming right back at him.
And that's one tough SOB playing quarterback for the Green Bay Packers.
How tough? Favre and Antonio Freeman showed the Bucs just 2 plays later.
Here's Brent straight back in the pocket. Needs a play here. Looking, wants to go long over the middle. Freeman to the 10. Freeman on his feet to the 5. Freeman may have gotten in. What an arm by Brett Favre.
Favre will lead the Packers this Sunday when they play in Cincinnati for the first time in 15 years.
This week it gets easier for Tampa Bay as they're ready to open the doors on their new stadium. Now it's time for Inside Update. Those of you who stuck around to watch the end of San Francisco's blowout win on Monday night saw Jerry Rice visibly upset over being taken out of the game. 49ers coach Steve Mariucci spoke about it on Wednesday, saying he and Rice talked about it at practice and downplayed Rice's bad mood. Rice still hasn't talked to reporters. Rice's frustration stemmed from 3 episodes. He was caught from behind by Darrell Green on a 57-yard gain. He dropped an easy pass in the 3rd quarter, and he was kept out of the end zone on a catch to the 5-yard line. Some might call this behavior competitive fire. Others can see it as selfish. One more note about the 49ers. Left tackle Jamie Brown, slated to be their starter after trading for him in the offseason, is back with the team after a 3-week suspension. Brown was suspended for missing rehab assignments on his injuries and for showing up late for practices. Hard to believe, but he does get a second chance. So now for some more inside information, let's go to Chris Collinsworth and Gary Myers.
All right, Lenny, thanks. Gary, this week, the big story in Detroit where Charlie Batch takes over as the starting quarterback. Scott Mitchell demoted to third team after what was apparently a pretty ugly scene in the locker room after that Bengals game.
Well, what happened, Chris, was after Scott Mitchell threw that interception that was returned for a touchdown and cost him the game, he walked into a very intense and upset Lions locker room. He got up in front of the team and took responsibility for what happened out there. He said he was just trying to make a play like he had in the past. According to sources that were in the room, it did not come off very well, and it definitely was not received very well, especially by Robert Porcher, one of the Lions defensive ends, who basically said he was tired of listening to that kind of stuff. But there were no physical confrontations in the locker room after that game.
So why did they drop him all the way to third team? Why not make him the backup?
Well, they didn't want Charlie Batch, the rookie, who was the third quarterback taken in this draft behind Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf. They didn't want Batch looking over his shoulder at Scott Mitchell. That's why he's third team. If Batch should falter at any point the rest of the year, it'll be Frank Reich that goes into the game, not Scott Mitchell.
So now you have a third-team quarterback making millions of dollars. Why didn't they just trade him or cut him?
The salary cap, simply because of the salary cap. If they were to trade him before the October 13th trading deadline, $4 million of his future signing bonus cap money would be accelerated into this year's cap. The Lions are only $500,000 under the cap, so they would have to cut a bunch of players in order just to trade Scott Mitchell. As far as cutting him, $4 million of his bonus money will be accelerated into the 99 cap. They don't want to do that either. They'll wait until after June 1st next year to cut him, when they'll have a lot of cap relief. It'll be split over 2 years, 99 and 2000.
All right, Jeff Hostetler with the Washington Redskins. Apparently some promises were made to him before the season got started.
Chris, this story goes back to the offseason when Norv Turner went and visited Hostetler and promised him that if Gus Frerotte was not playing well, he wouldn't hesitate to make Hostetler the starter. That convinced Hostetler not to retire. Now you fast forward to September, and what happens is Hostetler is injured the first game. He could not play because he injured his knee in the last preseason game. When Gus Frerotte came out, Trent Green went in, and then he was the one who started the Monday night game against San Francisco. Hostetler was not number 2, he was number 3. That prompted him to go into Turner's office on Wednesday morning to complain. He walked out of there convinced that the Redskins had agreed to release him, and he left. Later informed by the Redskins they were not releasing him. He was back at practice on Thursday. But this situation is far from being over. Could get very ugly, especially if Hostetler does not get on the field.
Sounds like a soap opera.
You got that.
Jerry, thanks.
Okay, Chris.
Lenny, back to you.
Now it's time for our new weekly feature, NFL Storybook, a time when we go back to visit some of the greatest moments in NFL history. I know a lot of you think you're watching some of the greatest running backs in history right now with Terrell Davis, Barry Sanders, and Emmitt Smith, but hold on. Kurt Gowdy takes us back 33 years to a game played by the incomparable Gale Sayers.
December 12, 1965 was a miserable day in Chicago, Illinois. Gusting winds off Lake Michigan, steady rains, neither of which affected Chicago's Gale Sayers.
It was just, one of those days that, you like to relive over and over again.
On a slop-soaked track, in only his 11th NFL start, the 22-year-old rookie from Kansas played like a man among boys.
I knew where I was going, and they didn't. I didn't like days like that. I didn't like playing in the mud, but a lot of people were slipping. I wasn't slipping, so everything worked out for us. I had a talent to see holes, to see openings, and had the quickness. When that opening was there, I was there. We didn't plan anything differently. We were trying to win the ball game.
Without a doubt, that has to be as fine a performance as any running back has ever had in any game as long as they've been playing football.
We were admiring the moves and the runs of Gale Sayers just as much as people in the stands, I think that particular day, Gale Sayers found the zone, and whenever he touched the ball, in his mind, he was going to score.
I'll have to admit, I was almost cheering for him. I've never seen, a great running back. I've seen great running backs, but I've never seen a great day like that.
Soon everyone in Wrigley Field was on their feet, for Sayers needed just one more touchdown to tie the all-time single-game record.
Back then, we didn't care about records.
we were ahead by so many points, you put the second string in, you put the third string in. But today, they got record books on the sidelines. He needs this for that and so forth. But the yelling, we wanted Sayers to go back into the ball game, you know, I probably heard it. But I had really not a whole lot of feelings about it. I was doing my job. I was being paid to do a job, and I did my job.
On a fourth-quarter punt return, Gale Sayers navigated the Wrigley Field mud for a record-tying 6 touchdowns. Nobody who witnessed this amazing display of grit and finesse will ever forget it.
Every move was working for him 100%. And, you know, what can I say at this point in time, looking back on it, more power to you, big fella, because on that particular day, he was the best thing that ever happened in a football game.
We were going that good that I probably could score 8 or 9 touchdowns that day.
Said George Halas afterward, that was the greatest football exhibition I've ever seen by one man in one game.
Gale Sayers was great, but it makes me very envious because, you know, when he got out of the University of Kansas, he was drafted #1 by the Kansas City Chiefs, and I could just see how easy my life would have been to hand off to that guy and how great it would to be watching him.
Oh, no. Huh? I'm glad he went to Chicago. I didn't have to chase him for like 9 years.
Well, you're not chasing anybody last week, Nick, because you and Chris did all right as we take a look at
they were lucky.
All right, for the season, Chris, Len, Nick.
Where's Jerry?
There he is.
I'm going to make a comeback.
Right down there. The website.
Yeah.
Last week, 10,000 people on it. This week, 15,000. 3 people went 14-1. Congratulations to them. All right, earlier in the show, we picked several games. Now it's time to pick the rest. Baltimore is still uncertain of Harbaugh's status, but we like Jacksonville regardless. The Jags are 15-2 in their last 17 home games. Indianapolis has had success at the Meadowlands, but we like the Jets despite Glenn Foley's rib injury and questionable status. Nick and I like Dick Vermeil's Rams after he let up on some of those practices, but Jerry and Chris like the Bills at home. Tennessee has had his problems on offense. We like the Patriots. Philadelphia scored a total of 12 points this season. For that reason, Jerry has taken the Eagles
I got
in an upset, while the rest of us like Arizona. Now for the rest of the games in more detail. We got Chicago at Tampa Bay. Nick, why don't you start this off?
Well, Tampa Bay, Lenny, has had problems running the football. What happened to Warwick, Dunn, and Mike Allstott? They've been nowhere this year. Trent Dilfer cannot do it by himself, but this is a wake-up call. Tampa Bay wins.
Well, you got to love the Bears. The Bears have 2 linebackers, Rico McDonald and Sean Harris. They are smacking, great hitting the entire season. But they always give up a big play, and there's going to be a big play for Tampa Bay.
You know, Nick, I think the reason why Tampa hasn't been running the football effectively is simply because they've been behind early in these ball games. But this week against the Bears have 1 touchdown in each of their 2 games. They're not going to be able to match up with the Bucs. I like Tampa.
I am going to make it unanimous. I'm going with Tampa Bay. Warren Sapp is going to make life miserable for Eric Kramer. All right, Jerry, we got Detroit at Minnesota. Randall Cunningham versus Charlie Batch.
Charlie who?
Charlie Batch.
Wow, what a difference in these 2 teams. Maybe Minnesota has the best backup quarterback in the National Football League. I got to see him play a whole game in preseason against New England. He's excellent. He'll win it again.
Yeah, and as if Detroit had enough things to worry about. You have Robert Smith. You have all those 3 great receivers, although Chris Carter a little bit iffy. Don't know if he's going to play or not. Now you got to worry about a mobile quarterback and Randall Cunningham. I'll take Minnesota.
And they put Scott Mitchell on the bench, the Lions do, and they go with Charlie Batch, a second-round draft choice out of Eastern Michigan. John Randall has that war paint on. He's going to go after him. I like the Vikes.
Charlie Batch, I'm telling you, he's threw 23 touchdowns last year.
For whom?
Eastern Michigan. That's why I'm going with Minnesota. We got Green Bay at Cincinnati. No Dorsey Levens.
Dorsey Levens out, but Travis Jervey, a young man, one of the fastest backs in the National Football League. If he can hold on to the football, I'll take Green Bay.
Well, I look for Freeman and Brooks to really light it up in this ball game. They're going to make it big.
Well, let me tell you about the Bengals. This is their weakest spot. Offensive line. They're absolutely terrible going against the Packers' strength. Their defensive line. Packers only gave up 50 yards rushing last week against Tampa. Got to go with the Packers again.
Well, I tell you, Levens is out, but that's not going to make any difference because, you know, they're last in rushing anyway. They depend on Favre and that defense. I like Green Bay. Washington at Seattle.
Well, you know something, Lane? A new motto up in Seattle. Let the defense do it. Why not? Michael Sinclair, already 4.5 sacks. Chad Brown, Cortez Kennedy, terrific defense. They beat Washington.
And don't forget Philip Daniels, the right defensive end. He's playing excellent. But there's one guy that's changed the sail here, and it's Ricky Watters. Ricky Watters has that attitude. He has the whole team fighting harder. Ricky Watters wins.
Seattle trying to go 3-0 here this week, and I think they're going to get it done because in Washington they have 6 guys on their defense that are getting paid $2 million or more. Can you imagine how many points the 49ers would have scored if they didn't have all those guys out there making all that money?
I like Seattle, too, because their turnover ratio is +5. They're #1 in defense. Warren Moon, the highest-rated passer in the National Football League. I like Seattle as well. Well, that's our show for this week. Remember, Inside the NFL premieres each Thursday evening at 11 p.m. If you miss any part of it, you can catch it again Fridays at 7 p.m., Saturdays at 11 a.m. Those times are Eastern and Pacific. So, for Nick, Chris, and Jerry, I'm Len Dawson saying thanks for watching the show the pros watch, Inside the NFL. September 26th, World Championship Boxing returns with a heavyweight matchup featuring Lennox Lewis, the champion everyone seems to avoid, and heavyweight contender Zeljko Mavrovic, live right here on HBO.
We want the ball, gonna turn this mother out, we're gonna dump the dump. Oh, we gotta have that ball.
Be a quarterback in high school. And then they got smart. See that release? Second strength.
I switched the steps instead of slide step, I took a drop step and came down here, so the backers ran up inside. How about the bend back?
This has been a presentation of HBO Sports, the network of champions.
Next on HBO. In the high-powered big bucks world of professional sports, athletes need more than an agent. They need a super agent. Arliss. Next on HBO.
He may be the most underrated heavyweight champion ever, but he should never be underestimated. He's still here, still waiting, and still at risk.
Tremendous statement by Lennox Lewis.
Lennox Lewis returns live Saturday, September 26th, only on HBO.
For almost a fifth of a decade, Chris Rock has been more than just a person. He's been an institution. Case in point, a recent show.
And you can smoke weed in the NBA. Oh! You're allowed, right? So the brother got cornrows and can smoke weed and get mad at somebody.
Well, the institution continues as The Rock rings in an all-new show with some very special guests. The Chris Rock Show.